Chris Lee and Blayne Gilmer of Southeastern 14 here to preview Vanderbilt's road trip to Oxford to face the Ole Miss Rebels. You can catch this one 6:30 Central on the SEC Network. Rebels come in 6-1, Vandy 2-6. Ole Miss is about a 25.5-point favorite as we do this Sunday night with an over-under of 61.5, making for a predicted final of Ole Miss 44, Vandy 17. The computers have it even worse. ESPN's FPI, Team Rank, and Sagarin all have the Rebels as 29-point favorites with the home field advantage. SP Plus likes Vandy more than the other computers, only has Ole Miss as a 23-point favorite there. But, hey, look, this is a game that computers consider a mismatch on paper. Frankly, I haven't seen both teams play a lot. I think it's a mismatch in style. And if Vanderbilt is going to pull an upset in this one, many things have to happen that have not been on the table for the Commodores so far.
Yeah, but I will say I do think Ken Seals is playing some pretty decent football. I really do. I think he's doing some decent things for Vanderbilt. I think he takes care of the football better than what AJ Swan was earlier in the year, and I think he gives his wide receivers chances to make plays, which they do have some talented guys with McGowan and Humphreys and Shepard, all those kind of guys. So I do think they have an opportunity to make some plays down the field. As we've seen, Ole Miss has been susceptible on the back end. We didn't get to see that against Auburn because Auburn has yet to discover the invention of the forward pass, Chris. But we will see Vandy sling it down the field a little bit in this game.
I think you've unfairly picked on Auburn. There's a couple teams in that category in this league right now, but in any case, Vandy's not one of them, as you mentioned. The problem is the slinging has not always been ideal. Vanderbilt has turned it over 2.9% of snaps, fumbled 5 times, been picked off 9 times. When it gets a pass off and it's not going to someone else, they've been pretty decent. 7 yards of pass play, 4 a rush play. Their rushing attack is pretty bad. Vandy scoring 27.8 a game, Ole Miss giving up 23.4. Rebels allowing 6.1 on pass plays, 4.3 on rush plays, and forcing turnovers 2.2% of the time. Look, Ole Miss is not a good defense, but it has been for a couple of years now a fairly disruptive defense. 25 sacks this year. I remember 2 years ago, Sam Williams and those guys were one of the leaders in the SEC, maybe in the country in sacks. Ole Miss will give up some, but will also make some too. And if you're Vanderbilt, and by the way, I don't know if it's going to be Ken Seals or if it's going to be A.J. Swan. Clark Lee seems to be leaving that a little bit open-ended. I think it's going to be Seals. They're better with him, but Swan was hurt a little bit. Either way, it's him, it's Will Shepard, it's Jaden McGowan, it's London Humphreys. They do have some guys who can make some plays when given a chance, but the turnovers have just been a backbreaker for Vanderbilt.
Yeah, you got to be able to find some kind of run game and try to shorten the game. If you're Vanderbilt, keep the best defense for Vanderbilt would be this offense trying to extend some drives, get some first downs, and keep Jackson Dart and company off the field. That's what you would hope to do. That doesn't seem likely with the run game. You're going to have to do it with the extension of the run game, which is quick screens, tunnel screens, all that kind of stuff, and hope you can get enough yardage to stay ahead of the sticks and stay on schedule. Ole Miss's defense flies around. They get pressure on the quarterback a lot. They've got a lot of sacks on the year. So, Chris, it's going to be tough sledding. Can Vanderbilt make it a death by 1,000 cuts type thing instead of bleeding out early over there in Oxford?
Yeah, well, they're going to have to keep the defense off the field. Vanderbilt is on the field defensively 71 plays a game, just 60 on offense. That's a combination of being unable to convert third downs and its defense being able to stop them. But Ole Miss, boy, when the Rebels have got the ball, this offense is really clicking right now. 39.7 points a game. Vandy allowing 34.4. Ole Miss is going to try to run it 55% of the time. 5.2 per rushing play, 8.8 per passing play. I think that's the best in the league or really close to it. Vandy giving up 6.8 on passing plays, 5.6 on rushing plays. Commodores forcing turnovers 2.1% of the time. That's one thing Vandy does decently well is create some opportunities with that. But Ole Miss just turning it over 1% of the time. I think that's the best figure in the league. Ole Miss has found balance. Jackson Dart has been throwing to a lot of guys. Trey Harris has been a stud at times. Hayden Priestcorn has been really good. Had a huge catch, one of his 2 in that game, with a one-handed grab that was a big play in that Auburn game. He's the transfer tight end from Memphis who's been pretty good. They got Zakari Franklin, Dayton Wade have made plays on the receiving end. And then Quinshawn Judkins, they're starting to get him untracked again after a rough start and change in blocking schemes that he had difficulty adjusting to. Ulysses Bentley has been their better running back at times. I don't think it's going to be the case going forward, but it has been the case at times. Jackson Dart can run the ball. Look, everywhere I look on this offense, I see guys who may not be superstars, but a lot of guys that you have to worry about who can make plays. And I think that is going to be an absolute nightmare for Vanderbilt.
Yeah, and one kind of superstar type player I would say that Vanderbilt had on defensively, Taylor, the linebacker. Didn't he hurt it? He hurt his knee against Georgia, right? Was there any word on it's his ankle? How bad is it? Any chance that he plays?
Might miss the game.
Yeah, if he misses the game, then that's really rough because he has, in my mind, Chris, he has some elite athleticism. I mean, he's really a guy who can affect games a little bit, and he does a good job flying around. But without him, it's gonna be tough, particularly to be able to, even with him, it'd be tough for Vanderbilt to consistently stop this Ole Miss rushing attack, cover all those weapons as you mentioned over there in the passing attack for Ole Miss. I think Jackson Dart's playing really good football, and now they are getting Quinshawn Judkins rolling. So Vanderbilt, listen, early on in games, even last year, this year, in the Clark Lee era, they've been able to do a couple things early to frustrate teams, but then you just see they're on the field way too long, and the depth gets to them, and they get leaned on a little bit in the run game. So I think you'll see more of that in this game, Chris, with Ole Miss's run game, and we know that's really what Lane Kiffin wants to do. He wants to be able to run the football effectively.
Now, here's where Vanderbilt can balance it out a little bit more. Special teams are pretty good. They got Jaden McGowan returning kickoffs. He's taken one back this year. They've got Matt Hayball at punter, who is, I don't think he's going to do it, but could set the all-time NCAA record for punting average. And he does get some opportunities, but he can hit them high. He can hit them long. He can hit them inside the 5. So that is one reason this team has not been worse than it's been, is you've got Matt Hayball pinning teams back deep with consistency. Another place that Vanderbilt's got a little bit of an advantage is discipline. Vanderbilt penalized 43 yards a game. That's one of the better numbers in the league. Ole Miss 65 a game. I think that's third worst. So again, sometimes those matter. Sometimes those stop drives. That might be something to watch for. But look, Ole Miss is a 20-something point favorite for a reason. Vanderbilt did look better the second half against Georgia, but I just think that Ole Miss has got too many weapons. Vanderbilt's defense has been awful. I don't see it getting stops. The Rebels are at home, and I think Ole Miss wins this one without it being too interesting late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, obviously, I think the Rebels win. My question is, Chris, do you think they cover? Do you think they cover the 25.5? Or you think Vandy makes it interesting enough in terms of to keep it within the number?
Well, based on history, I would say no. Vandy's covered once all year, but that was last time out. So Vandy's off a bye week too. I don't know if they're able to fix some things. I think the biggest issue is talent. And when you've got a talent deficit on the lines of scrimmage and at corners, that's a tough ask against this team.
No doubt. Yeah, Vandy, and I'll go ahead. Vandy's going to lose this one, but I'll take Ole Miss to cover it. I'll go ahead and say they cover.
All right, we're previewing all SEC games. Best way to get that, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. For Blayne Gilmer, I'm Chris Lee. We're Southeastern 14. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you soon.